In this episode...
I give up.
What?
Give up, I've quit.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome to episode 55 of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
We've got a cheeky little Thursday morning episode before a Friday evening deadline. We got up extra early just to get this in after the last 3 matches of the double game week last night. And your big night, opening night at the Spurs Stadium. First competitive fixture there as well. And yeah, we're in the studio. Just 8 a.m, bright and early.
Fucking half asleep.
Basically, I feel like I'm milking praise from people for the dedication that we're putting into getting early. So I'm going to stop doing that now.
The worst bit is this was my idea. I'm already fucking regretting it.
But it was a good idea. It was a good idea. We're loaded with coffee and we're ready to go. Planet FPL is here to talk about everything to do with FPL. Double game week is over.
I don't know. Can we just start talking about something else, maybe?
No.
We'll just talk about Spurs for an hour.
Someone did say that we should start a podcast talking about other stuff, but not
probably true.
Yet. Maybe in the summer when we've got a bit of downtime, we'll put out 3 or 4 episodes of nonsense. In the meantime, how was your double game week? Ended double game week 32.
78 points.
78, eh? Not bad. Above the average, which was 73. Average of 73, which was decent, but I mean the number of people that wanted to go 100 plus.
There were many lessons learnt from this week. One, that the rotation bit as I thought it would.
Yep.
All my fractional calls were the wrong way. Basically, it's simple as that.
Yeah.
There were mistakes too, but not too many regrets. And as I said, my season ended in game week 30, so I'm going to try and enjoy the rest of it from here on in. I dropped another 20k, which is unacceptable on a free hit in a double game week.
160?
168 or something, I think.
Right. So yeah, not a happy story for you.
Why don't you do the positive, Suj?
I'll do the
positive. You actually had a good week.
Somebody joined the 100 club.
Well
100
done, mate.
Points, second year in a row, 3 hits coming at 100 points for me, so I was happy with that. Having said that, 50% of my points, i.e. last night, I scored 50 points from 3 games. So a lot of my points all came in yesterday. Having said that, I was loaded with 3 City, 2 Chelsea, 2 Tottenham, who all had home fixtures last night. So it was likely to fall that way anyway. So I ended up on 100 points. My double City defence came in. Both getting clean sheets in both games, which is what I expected.
And a Laporte assist was handy as well.
Assist,
yeah.
And then Laporte picked up BPS in both games, not just this game. So that ended up being the best part of 30 points between the two of them.
Let's call that one of my marginal calls.
Yeah.
As I was on him for 2 weeks, basically, and changed my mind.
Yeah. David Luiz clean sheet yesterday, which was nice. So that came in as well. No clean sheet in the first game, but so be it. Johnny was a mistake. He only played 1.5 games, but you can't have all 11 players banging, can you? Really?
No.
Lovely to see Son score. Lovely to see Hazard score and assist last night. Pogba's assist the other day was in return. I had out of him, and Deulofeu I had nothing from. Harry Kane, surprisingly nothing, but then I did have attacking returns from. I can't remember, who do I have up front? Sergio Aguero. Nothing from Batshuayi. So Batshuayi, Kane, Deulofeu and Johnny didn't return. 4 out of my 11, but all the others did end up on 100 points. So, yeah, very happy with that.
My returnees were, I had Aguero captain.
Yeah.
I ended up with Ederson, as I said. Hazard, clean sheet for David Luiz, a goal for Rashford in the first game. Disasters being... I was still pleased when Chris Smalling scored his own goal because it did my team a bit of a favour, as in my proper team, not my FPL team. So I did have a chuckle. Nothing from Duffy. I knew it had to be the clean sheet at the weekend or bust. Nothing from Sterling, nothing from Pogba. Fucking Gonzalo Higuain is going to fall into something that by the end of this season is going to be very regretful. And Deulofeu got 2 starts.
Yeah, and hauled off half-time.
Half-time of a 4-1 win.
Yeah.
There you go. It happens.
I'm not going near him again the rest of the season.
Deulofeu's not out the running for my wild card, I would say.
I think it's just the thing that you mentioned when we were driving in this morning that affected everyone and was going to and is going to between now and the end of the season was rotation.
Yeah.
And obviously injury. You couldn't foresee Sergio Aguero getting injured. Having said that, had he not, Pep changed the whole front three, right, in terms of Riyad,
he
Mahrez,
probably would have
and
changed
Sane
it anyway.
Jesus, so
yeah.
You can't really. The only thing that the injury maybe stopped him doing is coming on as a sub in the second half or something.
I'd agree with that.
So it's cool, and 20 points from the first game. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, there's obviously a large number of people with a triple captain Aguero, and
Yeah.
there was obviously mass disappointment at him going off at 57 minutes in the first game.
Yeah.
But I'd stop fire there and go, okay, you only got 57 minutes out your triple captain and you hit double points.
Yeah.
You know, that's all right. We said when people took the a few took the Aubameyang gamble when they played Cardiff, and I think you got 12, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we said that was all right. I think it is all right. So if you've had triple captain Aguero, I promise you've had a better week than my free hit.
So I'm up to 770k from 1.015 million or something. So that's
I knew there would be something that cheered me up, and
that's a
it's your rank.
Yeah, 250,000 place rise
In the week.
Yeah,
That's really good, mate. Well done.
That was a nice tidy, and obviously the gap between me and Manchild has increased.
And so I was obviously depressed looking at my double game week 32 team. Some of you might have seen a tweet I sent out on Tuesday night saying, I don't know what was more depressing, looking at my double game week team or the fucking blank game week team that I'm now about to walk into.
Yeah. Can I just say though, we were joking around last episode about the fact that Manchild could still beat me.
It's off now.
No, it's not off.
Your place on this podcast is now safe.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially now we've been nominated for an award, which we can talk about. But and I don't think we would be if Manchild was sitting here talking about football.
Manchild was in the 60s.
Still got 69 points.
I know, doing absolutely nothing.
He's looking at us because he's there behind the camera.
Well done for coming in early this morning.
Yes. Captain Aguero, Jimenez got him a return. Luke Shaw, Robertson, Alonso also coming in. Assist for Mo Salah. And that's it. But still not 69 off no transfers.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And only half your team having a double game week in a double game week.
Yeah, it's all right. I put no time and effort into my free hit.
Yeah.
The listeners obviously believe that in detail.
And you got 9 more points.
Fucking joke, mate.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd quite like to forget this double game week. I wonder if there's some haunting in my mind, and there might be like this for others, was the massive double game week 37, not this season, but the year before when Kane got 5. I think Sanchez had 3 or 4 attacking returns, and there were plenty with Southampton players who did well in that midweek. And I wonder if that's a haunting of feeling like that's the bar of where a double game week should be, and actually that was quite an unusual one, I think, where there were some silly scores where people were getting in excess of 200.
Yeah.
And I guess it's more commonly like this. For me, it's a looking down at a split over basically 2 game weeks again and going, I'm average 39 between the two, and that's not on when, what was it, 28, and I can't even remember what the other shit score was in 31.
Difficult weeks. So let's just park that now in terms of the double game week. What's done is done. The free hit chip has been eaten, and we're on to blank game week 33, 6 matches, which we've spoken about. Most people on Chunky Chip strategy are carrying through, so you've re-inherited your pre-free hit team.
We should have done the apologies in advance.
The apologies for
following this strategy.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with the strategy.
No, there was nothing wrong with the strategy.
The strategy's still good to go. Followed by a wild card. We're both going to be hitting that wildcard button at 6:45 or 7 o'clock tomorrow, whatever the deadline is.
I can tell you right now, I'll be wildcarding in 36 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then that will be that. So between now and game week 33, you have 1 free transfer. I have 1 free transfer. You've got how many playing players at the
this
moment?
weekend?
As it stands, 11.
Yes.
Any with yellow flags?
Anderson.
That's the only one. Okay, so that's not too bad.
I wasn't gonna play Anderson anyway.
No, you're gonna bench him, and you're subbing out Heung-min Son for
Madison.
99%.
99%.
Right. Okay. I've ended up now with 3 yellow flags. Anderson being one, Alonso being another, and Marko Arnautovic being the other. Anderson was already on my bench, so be it. I'll leave him on my bench, and I think he's more than likely to be fit and come back. And Alonso's a new injury, so I have to keep an eye on it, but that may be a precaution. And then Marko Arnautovic was the one that I was going to sub out. I had 2 options. One was to upgrade him to Jamie Vardy, which would have meant downgrading Felipe Anderson, because I need to free up some cash. It's for 1 week, right? So I can just go anywhere.
Worth a hit?
I don't know if it is.
I think it is if you put the armband on Vardy.
The second is no, I'm banning Hazard. No way I'm going to go anywhere.
Then I
else.
don't think it is.
The other option is to go from Arnautovic to Wilfried Zaha, because I quite fancy a bit of Wilfried Zaha. I think he's been doing all right. And for a 1 week punt away at Newcastle, I don't think it's too bad a shout. And I don't need to free up any funds anywhere.
Not on what I saw last night. On what I saw of the game from Saturday against Huddersfield.
Saturday away.
Yeah, definitely.
It was decent. But obviously, you're a much better
Newcastle
side.
were going to sit deep like they normally do. It's going to be a different kind of game.
Palace's away record isn't too bad, though.
Palace's away record is good. They were mediocre last night, if I'm honest.
Do you think that was fatigue, or do you think you were just good enough to contain them?
No, I think we played okay. Like, we deserved to win the game. Even Roy Hodgson said that after the game. We won pretty comfy. I said to you on the way in, we were quite pedestrian on the ball. But Palace offered nothing, really.
Yeah.
Like Schlupp had one early chance. We blazed over. And Batshuayi had an effort from the edge of the box early in the second half. That was it. I mean, Zaha had a very late chance. But the game was done by that stage. He didn't offer a lot.
No. So, yeah, I'm going to be moving for Marko Arnautovic somewhere, and I haven't fully decided yet, but I'll probably spend some time thinking about it today.
You got Bournemouth coverage?
I've got Joshua King and Brooks. So
yeah. I would say, Wilson or King, but
I've got King already.
Yeah, you could go to both.
Yeah,
all-in strategy. I mean, I said on if I'd have free hit in 31, I would have gone Wilson and King.
Yeah.
So I think you can go that way. For me, they've got the best fixture this weekend.
Yeah. Home to Burnley. Let's see. Let's run through the fixtures since Monday's episode, which is all of 6 games, and we'll rattle through them as quick as we can, and then we can jump into some Twitter questions.
Cool.
What do you think? Gooners 2-0.
They played well, in fairness.
They were crowing from the rooftops about being above you in the league.
I do live in this, and I've said this before, both sets of football fans of the 2 clubs are fucking obsessed with the other.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I said on the pod Monday, they can have 3rd, I'll have 4th. That'll do me. Yeah. As long as my team finish in the top 4. Both sets of fans need to get out of that mindset.
I agree with you.
Like, massively.
Yeah.
It's not good for me to finish 5th and Arsenal finish 6th. That don't make me feel better.
No.
So, yeah. Some of the comments, particularly from Arsenal players, has been quite laughable. Like Bellerin tweeting mid-game and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah.
What are you doing? You know, the week's not even finished yet and you're crying. You know, you're back behind us. Yes, you have a game in hand, but yeah, we'll see. I do think Arsenal will finish top 4. I said before they played United, with the fixture running they had, they should finish top 4. There's no doubt about it.
100%. I think they will as well.
And the way they're playing. Because
doing all right.
At the moment, they're playing with... What Emery's given them is obviously intensity. Mm-hmm. Now they're playing with a bit of freedom as well. They're beginning to express themselves. Now, whether they'll be able to do that with 5 away games left out of the 7... I'm not so sure. And I think Arsenal being Arsenal, there is an anticipation that they will drop some points in some of those games. But they really should finish top 4 now. And there were several impressive performances for Arsenal on Monday. Actually, they were good to watch. I have to admit it.
What's your thought process on the wild card? Because we're not getting any Gooners in this week. But your thought process on the wild card. Originally, obviously, Aubameyang was the one that everyone was looking at from Arsenal just because of the reliability. But I actually think that Lacazette is not far behind and worth considering.
I think if I had to select my 34 wild card now, the only Arsenal player I'd have in is Leno.
Explain.
I just think it's too many problems with the rotation now. You haven't got a clue from game to game who's going to play for them.
No, but then you got to factor that into the price, right? Lacazette and Aubameyang, even if they don't start, inevitably they always get minutes.
Yeah, but they haven't got 5 home games out of 7. They've got 5 away games. And Aubameyang and Lacazette are nearly always going to return against inferior opposition at home. I'm not so sure about away.
True.
And
the price differential between them, there's only 15 points between them over the season.
If they beat Napoli in Europe, which is probably a 50-50 call, then you're swinging and guessing away in terms of the points. The double game weeks, Palace at home and Wolves away.
Yeah.
It's nice and it's not nice because you're playing against 2 teams who both want to sit behind the ball and defend and play on the counter-attack, irrespective of their positions in the league. So I don't think it's that appealing. That's not to say that Aubameyang and Lacazette are bad choices. That's just how I feel about it.
And Kolasinac is not in your thoughts either.
If I'm going to go Leno, they've got 5 away games.
I mean, Kolasinac is the type of player you get for attacking returns as well as defensive returns, and he's priced well at 5 million. The thing with Kolasinac is he's not comparable to your Liverpool and your City defenders, because who are all $1 million to $1 million and a bit more expensive. He's in the bracket of your Manchester United defenders of Luke Shaw or Lindelof or what have you, and so he's comparable to those. And then there are defenders from the next tier of teams like Leicester and Wolves in terms of Doherty and what have you that are all a bit more expensive. So Kolasinac at 5 million still represents decent value for me. I think I may be looking. I can't argue. I'm not going to have Leno, so for me, Kolasinac is
I can't argue that at all. I can't argue against Aaron Ramsey. We spoke about it a lot early in the season about Aaron Ramsey, and he might want to go out in a blaze of glory. He might also be getting saved for European games.
Yeah,
really don't know. So I think them more than anybody are probably the one of the 4 big 6 teams with a double game week to stay away from. Just purely because at the best of times you can't pick their team. So what's it going to be like in a double?
Yeah.
That's my instinct at the moment. Maybe something against Everton at the weekend would change my mind. I mean, if they were very impressive and won 3-4-0 at Goodison, that's going to get reassessed, isn't it?
Talk to me about Newcastle and your thoughts on them. Originally, this is coming back about 2 weeks ago, I did fancy a cheeky move from Arnautovic to Rondon this weekend. Again, don't need to free up any funds to make that move, and it's a home tie against Palace, and he has been doing all right recently. Feels a little bit more of a risky move now than it did a couple of weeks ago, when maybe I was bandwagoning a bit there because he'd scored and had scored a little bit. But still an option for me is moving to Rondon. There isn't anyone else at Newcastle that's catching my eye necessarily, but Rondon is the one that I may go to.
No, I think for those going into the weekend, I think you can go defensive if you want to. I think there are other teams with better options if you're on the 33 free hit or you need cover there.
Yeah.
I think Dubravka would be a decent shout for those free hitting this weekend. The one that stood out for me that I wanted to speak about briefly was Almiron.
Okay. Miguel.
Yeah, every time he gets the ball, you feel like something can happen, but at the same time, you feel like it never will. Like, he gets the ball and he's very fucking 100 mile an hour. He's quite nippy and he springs away from people. His decision making is poor.
Maybe he just needs to adjust to the pace of the game. Thoughts?
Well, I don't think the pace of the game's a problem for him because he seems quite up to speed with it. He strikes me as quite erratic.
Okay. And
it was just a point I wanted to make because now I've said that, he'll go and get a hat-trick at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he's still very, very early into his career. He's one of those players that maybe next season might be priced super well at like 6 million or something and come and tear it up. 5-6 million.
Yeah,
break free.
They'll also benefit Newcastle from. I think they've got Shah back this weekend.
Yeah,
and they'll benefit from that in the Palace game as well. They can be looked at. Newcastle and Palace is a real tough call, I think, in 33, and
That's why
in the free hit team I drafted, I just
staying away
ignored
from
it. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Tuesday night games as briefly as possible. I had a couple of runners and riders in that, in terms of I had Johnny and Delafeu out and didn't return me nothing. You had 4 players. I had Pogba out as well.
I had 1 point from 4 players Tuesday night, I think.
I had 4 from 4 players, so that was a horrible, horrible evening. But Fulham finally down.
It's same with Huddersfield, inevitable. I don't think I've ever known... Well, it's the earliest 2 teams have ever gone down.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously early, which has meant that points total for 17th is going to be higher than it would normally be. I think Cardiff are going to probably need to win 4 games to stay up, I think. I just can't see it.
It is likely to be Cardiff is the last team to
Yeah. Fulham's problem opposite to Huddersfield.
Leaky at the back.
Yeah.
And keep a clean sheet for like 20 games.
I was watching the highlights of the game Tuesday night, and there was a point where they broke with Kearney and Babel to the left and Sessegnon to the right and then Mitrovic up front. And I looked at it and I thought, these could have been a team,
Yeah.
because there's attacking talent there.
Yeah, I mean, they did so well in the Championship because of that last season, but it's not so easy to translate. Teams that do well in the Championship, playing good football, and then try and keep those values in the Premier League often do struggle, because you need that. You need to get some backbone and a bit of stability and defensive-minded solidness.
Yeah, I mean, there's others like Huddersfield. You would even include in Cardiff. There's been the odd game where they've scrapped something out, haven't they? Particularly early in the season.
Yeah, Fulham aren't scraping nothing.
No, it's gonna.
Were you looking at Will Hughes with any "I miss you" kind of loving eyes?
The Corey was the bigger regret for me. Said it on Monday, didn't I?
Yeah.
And we'd said it weeks ago about his numbers and his minutes with Milivojevic.
He's a defensive midfielder, really, Decore. He's not an attacking midfielder in my mind. He just happens to break forward.
But consistent, you're going to get the minutes, and then there's the chance, right? You get what you pay for. I don't think Delafeu was a bad choice. My hope was he wouldn't play at United and he would have played the 90 against Fulham, and Eddie stayed on the pitch. I think there was definitely some points in that second half, which it looks like were eaten up by Andre Gray. Now, whether that has an effect on Delafeu going forward, I'm not sure. I'm very keen to watch Watford and Wolves on Sunday in the Cup semi. I'm really looking forward to it because I think it's so evenly matched. And obviously pointless because they both have the double in 34. And I think on Sunday, particularly for Watford, we'll get a real look at what their strongest team is, particularly in the defensive areas. Because Watford's double in 35 is really nice. Huddersfield away, Southampton at home. So you're going to want to look at them and have some in, I think. So important to scope.
Scored 4.2 million. Good cheap option.
Well, they changed the whole back line, both games.
Mariappa's also a good shout, potentially. There is value to be had within the Wolves' defence and midfield.
Watford, you mean?
Watford, sorry.
And there is at Wolves as well.
Because Wolves are looking at me, but there is value to be had in the Watford backline. Feminina is the one that I'd probably look at, or Mariappa. But let's see who goes out on. Was it Saturday or Sunday? There.
Well, that's not going to affect the double, is it? But it might affect the mentality.
Just kind of understand who, like you said, who is their
the team that loses is probably more the one you want to look at.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, just psychologically, they'll want to finish the season well, whereas the team that gets to the final might have half an eye on it.
Yeah.
And on to Wolves, obviously they have an exciting double in 35. So it's 2 home games.
Yeah.
It's Brighton and Arsenal. So you see points there again. Can I possibly go without Jimenez?
In your wild card?
Oh, it's the fuck, man.
How are you?
But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I'm so far behind on the value to everybody else that I just fucking stay off. And then I'm looking at Hotter and I'm thinking, if I go Hotter, does it match up the points? It might do. And then I start thinking, then I start thinking, I'll just go without Wolves. And then I start wanting to punch myself in the face. Like, how fucking stupid are you being, mate? Jimenez is, when the season finishes, is definitely going to be the biggest regret, mate.
Yeah, I'm all over Jimenez when it comes down to the wild card. I think my 3 strikers is going to be where I'm going to have the most difficulty picking when it comes down to the wild card, because there's quite a lot of options out there. Whether I go 2 premium and 1 mid-priced, or I go all out, or just 1 premium and 2 mid-priced, is going to be tricky to figure out which strikers to go with. But I'll probably stick with Rashford. Maybe Rashford, Jimenez, and Kane are the ones I think that's going to end up being my front line, which will be pretty decent. a good win for them at home to Manchester United. Good performance on the whole as well. Yeah, I mean, what more is there to add than that? They played a fairly strong team as well.
In the first 20 minutes, you would have thought United were going to go and win comfortably, and I did think before the game that United would win. Yes, Wolves went strong. It's interesting to note, would obviously Hodder started again.
Yeah.
I didn't think he would. It was natural that Doherty and Jimenez would come back in, and that midfield three stayed together importantly as well, which always gives them a good platform. The game changed really on a defensive error which Hodder and Jimenez capitalised on so well. I think it was Moutinho won the ball originally, and then obviously they won the game after the red card with an absolutely fucking laughable goal, which I think caused the Twitter community more meltdown than it caused Man United fans.
Yeah.
All this, where's my fucking Jimenez assist? Give him the goal, he's on target. It went on for ages, didn't they? So in the ruling, they've said any amendments to goals or assists would be announced within an hour of the final game on any given day being completed.
On any given day.
Hour and 20 minutes had passed and people were fucking going mental, mate.
Yeah.
He got his points. Well done.
Yeah, there you go.
And I obviously had Chris Smalling.
Yeah.
Less well done, but I still laughed about it. What can you do?
Nothing. It felt like a good move, Chris Smalling, on Saturday or whatever when Lindelof hadn't played, and it was like, yes, escaped one by moving to the right central mid defender.
It felt like it when they were winning 2-0 at the weekend with it going into injury time. No, don't feel so clever after conceding that and the own goal. It's fine margins, isn't it? It is. United's double is obviously in 30, it's fucking 35, isn't it? Or 34.
35.
He's Everton away and Man City at home.
Tough games.
And I think there'll be a big movement away from United. My instinct was always to carry Pogba, Rashford through because of the value I'd built up.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, I don't want either of them for that double. Do have West Ham at home before, which is a decent fixture. But then, because of the Champions League, that falls in the middle of the two Barcelona games. Are they going to rotate heavily anyway? Because they'll play Barca Wednesday and Tuesday, and then West Ham the Saturday, I think. So they're probably going to rotate heavily anyway. And you kind of want some interest in the final two games. The final two's Huddersfield and Cardiff. But I think I'd just go back onto them if I want to.
I'm more than likely sticking with Rashford, and I'll move away from Pogba. I think that's the plan for me. Keep Rashford, move away from Pogba, and end up with just one United. I may keep with Luke Shaw as well because he has been doing okay. And there's no risk of that 2-game ban now either. So
no, that's gone.
Yeah,
we finally got the ruling on that a little bit too late.
Yeah, but it's done and dusted. He ain't getting any 2-game bans, so I'm happy with that.
Talk to me about Chelsea.
Chelsea 3-0. Higuain, forget about him for the rest of the season. Is he done and dusted now? No more Higuain.
Do you know what? He's so bad, I'm tempted to captain him this weekend.
That's a joke.
Just for the fucking
it's
crack.
It's not even April Fool's Day and you're still...
When I got him in, I obviously got him in ahead of the Fulham game, and I captained him, and I got a return. And it was a weekend where everybody blanked. And I said after the Fulham game, I said, I think his movement's good. He's getting in positions. He shoots on sight. There was a key fucking problem there. And the reason why it was a good decision at the time was because we were playing Fulham. He's not getting in the positions now. The movement seems to have stopped. Giroud come in and scored last night. Giroud might stay in the team. I don't know.
Giroud came in and scored, and also Hazard got a goal and assist when Giroud was playing, right? So there's always been this thing that Giroud brings the best out of Hazard, and I think that's the real value in having Giroud there. Okay, great, Giroud got a goal, but then suddenly Hazard from somewhere has picked up a goal and assist. Happy days. So I think you're right. Giroud's now going to be potentially the one that starts against West Ham on Monday, which spells trouble for us and will definitely open up Eden Hazard to being more of an option.
For free hitters and those who are looking to invest in Chelsea this weekend, if you had to go free, who would you go?
Me personally, I would definitely Hazard. Or if I had to have 3, no.
No, don't then.
I'll have 2.
They're playing West Ham, right?
I'd have Azpilicueta, assuming money's no object. Azpilicueta, Eden Hazard, and probably Willian. Probably.
I thought you were going to say Higuain.
No. I wouldn't have any of the strikers.
I'll be going in with just David Luiz, who I think might not play, and Higuain, who I think might not play. I would go. I think David Luiz has obviously played the double. Now it's a distance to West Ham on Monday, but I think that possibly makes him nervy for Monday. So I think Rudiger or Azpilicueta for free hitters would be the better choice.
Played enough games this season that I'm not worried about that. I think he will play.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's fairly consistent, surprisingly fairly consistent.
Do we agree that Hazard's the best captaincy option this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. It wouldn't. You were talking about going with Callum Wilson, right?
Well, I've not got Hazard, and I'm not taking a fucking hit this weekend. I don't care to get him in.
So don't care about. You've got no love for Mohamed Salah.
My captaincy choice this weekend's either Wilson or Salah.
And
at the moment, I'm going Callum. At the moment, I'm going Callum Wilson.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout. For me, Hazard all the way. I mean,
yeah, if I had Hazard, I'd captain
second home
him.
game in a row, off the back of a 3-0 win against Brighton. They probably should be doing pretty much the same to us, maybe 3-1.
The fixture is particularly appealing.
Cheers. Man City 2, Cardiff 0.
I think we got to talk briefly about the Brighton problem.
Well, we do actually, because we do and we don't. I'm going. I know what I'm going to do, which is Lewis Dunk for in the Wildcard.
Is that just to be different from Duffy?
It's cheaper. It's cheaper. If I can afford Duffy once I've laid out my whole wildcard team, then maybe I will go Duffy. But Lewis Dunk is 0.4 cheaper or something, 4.2 to 4.6, or give or take a couple of points there. So I'm thinking Lewis Dunk just because he's cheaper. And, I mean, they're both going to play. You know they're both...
Oh, they're reliable as hell for that, yeah.
If I've got the money to go to Duffy, sure, I'll go to Duffy, but otherwise it's Dunk for me. There's no one else there that's reliable enough for me to go with.
I think on my wild cards...
Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Second keeper, maybe Matt Ryan, depending on if I can afford it with Fabianski.
You didn't interrupt me, you finished my sentence.
Oh, there you go.
With a wild card, Matt Ryan is an absolute certainty for me.
Yeah.
I think probably Duffy, and I might take a punt on our old friend Glenn Murray as well.
Okay, I thought you were going to come up with... go back
so obviously they've got the double 34. Now, the 35 double's shite. Now, quite a few of the listeners might have read the article from Is My Cat playing yesterday. And I think we'll talk about this a bit more next week, is this idea of not bench boosting in 35. Bench boosting in 36, which then opens up the triple captain option in 35. And the idea behind bench boosting in 36 is the players without shithousery that you would probably leave on the bench have a good fixture in 36 rather than two bad fixtures in 35. And that's the thinking. That article's worth a look. And we'll look on that a bit more detail next week. It's not for me, I'll be very honest. But there are a few in the community who are starting to look at this. And like I said, it does open up the idea to triple captain in 35 in the double if you go down that route as well.
Yeah.
So I ain't no clue when I'm using my triple captain.
Well, you've narrowed it down to a choice of like 36, 37 or 38. It's one of 3 weeks. It's not like you've got a massive opportunity to use it now.
It might be this fixture in 36.
Oh. And
possibly.
by then you'll have King Kane in your squad.
Yes.
More than likely.
City.
So City 2, Cardiff 0. One more nail in Cardiff's coffin.
Yeah, I think... They've obviously got a double themselves, 34, but I'm not going near them.
Same.
The fixture is Bournemouth. Is it? Yeah, they've obviously got Brighton away, and Burnley away, isn't it? They're not awful
for Cardiff,
but like attacking wise, you don't see the goals, and you don't see them keeping clean sheets away from home either. So therefore, I just stay away. I think I don't see them getting the points that they'll need to stay up.
I don't. There's only one person from Cardiff I'd go to, Camarasa, maybe. Literally no one else in the
keeper's all right.
Yeah, but then there's better options in terms of Ryan and what have you. So I'm not interested in anyone other than Camarasa. Camarasa may come into my wildcard team but he's an enabler that I may play depending on the fixtures, but not really consideration for me. City is the big problem for everyone in the sense that the best attacking side out there, most attacking returns to be had, and shit ton of rotation.
The problem is they've got the best attacking team in the league, and they've also got the second best
attacking team in the league. Yeah, their B team would be up there in the top 4. So is he back, Leroy Sané?
It's not Sané that I want to talk about.
KDB.
Yeah.
Good
he looked
perform.
unbelievable. He looked back to, and we haven't seen that all season from him.
No.
I know it was Cardiff at home. I know it was quite an easy game, but he was
think
doing all the things he used to in terms of that running beyond
the
as
ball
well.
up and off you go. Yeah. He has great pace for deceptive pace. I think Kevin De Bruyne.
I don't know the breakdown between the 2 games. Of which game, I assume it was the game last night, and that's how it looked on the telly. He had like 23 crosses over the 2 games, which is a monstrous sum.
He's fresh as well. He hasn't played that much football this season because of injuries. So you'd think that he's pretty much reliable. And he was always the one least prone to rotation, even last season.
That's right.
Anyway, he's as cheap as you'll get a Kevin De Bruyne at the moment because of his injuries. Like 9.4 is he?
It's 9.7.
9.7.
Yeah.
He's as cheap as you'll get Kevin De Bruyne this season.
Absolutely want him in.
Yeah.
On that wild card. Yeah. Aguero, Sterling, Sane, they'd all be strong doubts at the moment. Obviously, they play Spurs and United in that double. You do want the coverage, and there was enough signs last night to make me think that he could really pull up trees in these last few games.
I couldn't agree with you more on that one. KDB, I think it's just one of those, like when the penny drops and suddenly they're back on it.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. He was like, okay, he's got his rhythm and his mojo and everything back all in one go.
When I wildcarded over Christmas, I went back like a lot of others did, basically just on a historical.
Yeah.
Going, this is what this guy can do. I want him in my team.
Yeah.
Whereas last night I saw different that made me go, no, oh fuck, that's Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
That all aspects, what I believe is the best player in the league. Yes, will strongly be looking at him.
Yeah. Man-child.
What's up, man-child?
Anyway.
Spurs.
Minor interruption.
Spurs. Go and talk to me about the Go Compare, man. Go Compare.
What's his name? Hugh or whatever.
Hugh from the Valleys.
Look, a lot of people that have moved into new stadiums have struggled in the early few games, and you've gone in and won your first game, so well done on that. What did you... Okay, big talking points are going to be around Kane and Son, but obviously you mentioned it just now before off air, Eriksen, highest scoring player in the double game week. So again...
And he was shit, by the way. He was our worst player last night, I'm not joking, which sums up this game.
He's probably trying to get his transfer fee to Real Madrid lowered a little bit so that it's more affordable for them by playing crap.
He most likely is on his way out. I can't argue that.
So Spurs assets in terms of wild card.
Kane.
Yes.
There's not a doubt. I'll answer a few of the Twitter questions now that I'm saying most likely.
You know, a lot of people were buying Aguero and Sterling for their free hits, and that was because it gives you coverage of both. If one's not going to score, the other is.
Not really. It was thinking they're both going to fucking explode. True, is what it was thinking.
Quite often people have 2 players from a certain... Like they'll get Lacazette and Aubameyang, because if one doesn't, the other will. They'll pick up the points that way. I've never played the game that way in terms of having 2 players for coverage, but I do feel like with Spurs, Son and Kane does give you that. If one doesn't, the other's the one likely to score. When I saw you guys were 1-0 up and I clicked into the app and it was Son, I was like, yeah, cool. It was either Son or Kane. I didn't care which one. One of them was going to have it. And it was Son this time around. So I think Son and Kane for my wild card.
Yeah, I think likely Kane obviously gives you that reliability that he'll probably play even if we were to progress in the Champions League. Son less so, because he'll really want him for the counter-attack in those big Champions League games. There's no doubt about that. So that's more of a tricky one. But for me, what I started to look at last night was, rather than the idea of, what wild team am I going to wildcard 435, was looking at a wildcard that if I got hit by that fucking bus... would carry me through to 38. And if you look at Spurs games either side of, yes, Man City's in the double wheel, but Brighton at home is fine. We've seen obviously what Chelsea have done in the second part of it last night.
Yeah,
with
and
some
you'll
decent
be
returns.
a little less nervy now that you've got the first game out.
Massively. The fixtures either side: Huddersfield at home, West Ham at home, Bournemouth away, Everton at home.
Yeah, you need that.
I mean, we're not playing well enough to have that confidence to go in like that at the moment, but I think I'm going to anyway because I know potentially what's there, and that in itself can offer up a bit of a differential for me in the final weeks because I'm very much a player who'll sort of pick on eye test if you want.
Yeah.
But I also have strong opinions on the capability of my team. Harry Kane is absolutely no doubt for me. I'm pretty sure now, as long as he's fit, I'll captain him the last 5 game weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just fuck it, get on with it. Which was always my plan till the bastard got injured.
Defensively, obviously Trips, because of Aurier's injuries, getting the minutes.
Depends how long Aurier's injury.
That's the thing.
So if you take
do we know any more about Aurier's injury?
No, but then if you take, say, like the Huddersfield game at home in between the 2 City games, he might just play Walker Peters, mightn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're gonna have the same problem with Spurs.
I'm not looking at any Spurs defensive assets. Are you?
Yeah, possibly. I might look at it again because you've got to think there must be some clean sheets in there. I think.
But
Vertonghen's
your guys are all a little expensive.
He's the safest one because he's probably the fittest and he gives the best balance being left-footed. So he would probably be
when you're at that
the best choice.
6 million mark, it's pricey.
The notable ones for those who've only sort of seen the highlights last night is Danny Rose playing in this left wing position in the 4-4-2. And it was 4-4-2, by the way, not a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. Don't like it. And Dele Alli playing very, very deep. So definitely avoidable if that's to be something we progress with.
Okay. Anything from Palace's point of view that you saw yesterday? I did mention earlier in the episode that I was flirting with Arnautovic Zaha just because he's been getting a few assists and a couple of goals more recently.
Most won't be looking at Palace beyond this game week. And the problem with this at the weekend is, well, yeah, and also it will be their 3rd game of the week, right?
Yeah, true.
And it didn't change a lot. So does Benteke play, for example? That sort of thing would be...
He'd be ahead of Batshuayi, right?
I mean, if Zaha's fit, he plays, that's nailed, it's fine. I think the defensive guys... I mean, the real standout last night, and it's not FPL, or he is part FPL, it's Wan-Bissaka. He's so fucking good, mate.
Really?
Yeah, like, to the point I would say probably the best right back in the league right now.
Ahead of...
ahead of anyone.
Trent?
Yep.
Ahead of Trippier?
Trent, technically, is brilliant.
Kyle Walker?
Defensively, this guy just does not get beat.
Because of his pace?
If Palace can hold on to him for another 12 months,
yeah,
they will get a monster amount of money from the following season. And I know it's harsh to talk about him leaving, but this guy should be in and around the England team now. And that's going up against Kyle Walker and Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah. If you look
it just doesn't get beat on one-on-ones. It's amazing.
The thing with players like these youngsters that are coming through, and I'll put Declan Rice into that same bucket, is I think they're proven now that they will be successful at the top level. So they're only going to get more expensive. The longer you leave it, the more expensive they're going to get. And a lot of the big clubs are savvy now to know that extra season means an extra 20 million. Fuck it, we'll just go and buy them now. And if they don't do well, then they'll just take a 10 million haircut and just move them on after a couple of seasons. But they will be sniffing around. And especially with young British talent.
Yeah, it's worth more because of obviously the quotas you need in your squad on that.
Yeah.
You know, if you go and buy someone like that, if you keep him, he's your right back for the next 10 years.
Wouldn't surprise. I can see Manchester United doing big things this summer in the transfer window. I think they'll be dropping some money. It wouldn't surprise me if they went in and picked up 3 or 4 players.
Chelsea, City and United will all go for Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what should we do? Talk about your free hit team for 33 very briefly.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the Twitter questions and we'll get through some of those.
So I drafted a free hit team just because I would. I said I would. So I'd only go to Liverpool if I was going to do it this weekend. I'd just go Robertson, Mane. Personally, I can't take it with Salah anymore. I'd have gone Kepa as the third Chelsea player with David Luiz. Hazard gone captain. I'd stick with Wilson, Fraser as attacking talents from Bournemouth. I'd go triple Leicester just for the crack. Vardy, Maddison. You can change that for Tielemans if you want. It's absolutely fine. Pereira, again, you can change that for Chilwell or Maguire. Will be back if you want to go that way. And the 11th player I stuck in there was Aubameyang. I think that's a difficult game for them now at the weekend, and I'd favour Aubameyang over Lacazette on a free hit purely because Aubameyang didn't play the other night. Fucking basically as simple as that.
Yeah.
So I'd go 3-4-3, Kepa, Luiz, Pereira, Robertson, Hazard, Mane, Maddison, Fraser, Vardy, Aubameyang, Wilson. This doesn't feel quite like if you're free hitting this weekend, quite like game for week 31 felt like go for an all-in strategy. This isn't far from that, but I can understand if people want to look at, say, Sigurdsson or Richarlison this weekend. I think it's okay, and there are calls in the Newcastle Palace game if you want to look at Zaha or Rondon, or you could look at both defensively. I don't think it's as cut and dry, and also, like I said to you on the way in, I think Liverpool are at risk this weekend.
You've been saying that for a few days. You think this is their toughest fixture?
I really do. I really do. And that's the biggest reason for me not winning a Captain Salah tomorrow night is that, rather than his form is also very off-putting. Look at Wilson at home to Burnley and think that's the better choice at the moment.
I don't give a toss about game week 33, to be honest.
I don't really give a toss about the game anymore.
Oh, man. I need to get you out of a hole that you're in. It's 6 games spread over 4 days. It's going to be real drip this game week. A few points trickling in on Friday.
So we've got Friday. Is it free on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? Isn't it?
Yeah. So it's just trickling through. So that's why it's going to. It's not going to be a lot of hustle and bustle and excitement. You're going to go up in banks of 10 points every day, or 15 points if you're lucky. So I'm not looking forward to game week 33.
I might just stop looking at the rank
and just wait till next week.
Yeah, fuck it.
Just play around with your wild card, and whatever happens, happens. Should we answer a few Twitter questions?
Yeah, just while you're getting it up. Obviously, those who are following our strategy and are wild carding before 34, just press the button Friday night. Yes, you're not going to get the rises on the players you probably want for 34 this weekend because a lot of them won't be playing. You never know. There'll be Mane and that getting steamed into, and if he does well Friday night as well, you might catch it twice.
Yeah.
And then it's whether you want to keep or whether you want to sell. Because I definitely won't rule out having Liverpool players on my wild card. Definitely not.
You're definitely not going to rule out not having them, even though they haven't got a double.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's your last roll of the dice.
I'm pretty sure I'll keep Robertson. And then Mane is 50-50 at the moment.
I'm going to go from Salah to Mane, and I'm going to keep Robertson. And then whether or not I keep Trent, I'll have to wait and see. There's still Liverpool's fixture in game week 35. Remind everybody.
Cardiff away.
Yeah.
And then they walk into Huddersfield at home in 36.
Yeah, so you really, it's one of those where a single game week fixture is potentially better than the doubles for some of the teams. I prefer Liverpool's single game week fixture than City's doubles, for example, United and Spurs.
So they're running Southampton away, Chelsea at home, Cardiff away, Huddersfield at home, Newcastle away, Wolves at home.
Yep. Right, should we answer some Twitter questions? Because we ain't got long.
No, we haven't. I've actually got a day job.
Yeah.
Go on then, Princess.
Football. Right, Tom Campbell, utterly TC.
Good lad.
What's happening, Tom? Hey, James. So this one's specifically for you, but I'm going to chuck my opinion in whether he wants it or not.
He probably doesn't.
Quick one. For wildcarders who are wildcarding in preparation for 34, how would you recommend accommodating Spurs? More than one asset, mix of one defender or goalkeeper and a midfielder, or squeeze Kane in? Interested to hear your thoughts. I should have read that before we talked about the game tonight.
kind of have covered
Kane,
it some.
Definitely, plus a midfielder out of Eriksen and Son, defensively if you must.
Definitely Kane, 100%. I've got no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Which means you should probably do the fucking opposite. Son, most likely, and I think that's probably it. I'd like a defensive one, but it's the other games rather than the 35 that makes me want to do that. Because I think there's every chance Vertonghen might get minus points in 35. For example, if he plays at City and don't play against Brighton, he might end up with a minus. But then it's the fixtures before and after as well do make me think, yeah. And obviously what I saw last night as well was we didn't play great. We're not playing with the intensity like Arsenal at the moment, for example. We don't move the ball quickly enough. But actually defensively, generally speaking, we are probably a safer bet.
Shout out to Mars05. Marzi, what's happening? He's got a very simple question for you. On a scale of 9 to 11, how selfish is Kane?
Oh, about 29.
Was he particularly selfish yesterday?
No, not really. To be honest, I felt like they were trying to lay him on.
Yeah.
Like there were Danny Rose would clean through basically and tried to square it for him. He should just be pulling the trigger in the first half. Huh. I felt like there were a few that were actually looking for him too much, and you can tell his eagerness. And it doesn't really suit him when he gets into that mindset. I don't think. Well, he's a greedy bastard anyway, so just do your thing. Like, to be honest, even a crowd would have wanted him to score the first goal, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
he's your talisman.
It's no surprise that he would be like that. And yeah, he's selfish, but then he's Harry Kane, right?
Yeah.
It's how he's got to where he's by being that.
Shout out to FPL_Jim and also FPL_Loco Lord, right? So if you remember last week, FPL Jim put a tweet out challenging anyone to a head-to-head for £5 to be donated to my marathon appeal for Haven House. And two people who are FPL Loco Lord and Beer Fueled Man on Twitter said, yeah, we'll have a piece of that. Thanks, Jim, because he beat them both. So they're both due to donate a £5. And Dan, FPL Loco Lord, actually donated £10, and he tweeted, I actually donated £10 as I was so disappointed with my players this week. Knobhead.
So let me get this right.
Who gets a red arrow in a free hit double game week?
James.
Good job, Jim, and it's a pleasure to donate. So thank you.
Did Jim tag these guys saying he beat them and that he owes you money?
That they owe me a £5. Well, they owe the charity a £5. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
But he'd put the tweet out before, right? So fair play, and thank you guys for donating. I've got something special planned for next week for all the people that have been able to donate so far. I really appreciate it. We may tweet out the link or something soon. Right, okay.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested. I don't know what it is.
Wait and see. Kane. Andy Martin at FPL_tactician, who also sponsored me the other day as well. So thank you, Andy. Is it the right game week to look for a differential captain? I'm close to Maddison, although Hudson-Odoi is tempting.
No.
That's too risky for me. Yeah. Hudson-Odoi.
I don't think it applies.
I don't think you can.
Just started his first Premier League game.
Yeah, but at that point, if you really wanted to do that, just make sure your vice captain's on someone reliable. And
that ain't going to help. Because he'll play 10, 15 minutes, wouldn't he? And
really screw it up.
You would think so. No, I don't know.
It's a good week to have a differential captain.
I don't know what classifies as a differential captain this week. I assume most will go Hazard, Salah, or Mane. I would have thought. As I said, I think Hazard is the standout choice. But is Wilson, is that even a differential captain? Because I think there are a few who will feel like me on that and just go, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to go Wilson or King or Fraser or something like that because it's a nice home fixture. So I don't know what would mean a differential captain this weekend. There's obviously some will have like Aubameyang and Lacazette and will captain them for sure. So you might get quite a spread this week, which is always better for the game as well.
I think so as well. For me, I wouldn't mind Josh King as captain because he's on pen. So that's one thing I do like about Josh King versus Callum Wilson is that he's on the penalties, albeit missed one the other week, but then he came back and has scored pen. So there we go. Let's go to Nicky Stone at nstone07. Against all advice, I played my wild card in game week 33. So what would be an acceptable distance between my score and the free hitters this week? Please be kind. I don't actually, and Nicky didn't put out what they actually scored.
I'm in a mood, Nicky. So basically, mate, anything less than 100 is fucking unacceptable.
But what's the gap between someone that's wild-carded and free hit? I mean, even if you'd wildcarded, you'd want to be...
Well, a free hitter should this week get more points than a wildcarder.
Yeah, by how much?
Depends what route you're going down, right? 'Cause you might go down a route where you're wildcarding and you're this week, you're leaving sort of like, I don't know, Kane, Aguero on the bench and stuff for future save plan. You're going like 5-4-1 this week. Now, if you go down that route, you need the clean sheets or you ain't going to get anywhere near, right?
Yeah.
So that's very hard to put a number on. And I think this week's more balanced in terms of fixtures than 31 was. But then 31 was just a complete clusterfuck for everybody, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Tom was right what he'd said the other week, Tom Campbell, about being 30% above the average.
Yeah.
I wish I fucking was.
I think I'm exactly 30% above the average, give or take a point or two. Final question of the show, mate. Going to Sai, FPL footballer, our Newcastle correspondent. And I've left it as a final question because it is very straightforward. He's got 7.5 million in the bank to replace Felipe Anderson, who's 7.1 million on chunky chips. He's got the one free transfer. And he says, has to be Hazard.
Oh, he's got a fuck ton in the bank, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's got Pogba, Salah, Fraser, Richarlison as his 4 already in midfield, and he wants to replace Felipe. And he's got all the money in the world. He could afford anyone. Surely this week it's got to be Eden Hazard.
Yeah, I think
Off the back of a goal and assist in the home fixture against Brighton with West Ham. West Ham are playing in their flip-flops coming up.
Agreed. Just a couple of quick questions for you just before we finish. Just on Leicester, because they've probably got the best fixture at the weekend. If you had to buy only one this weekend, who would it be?
Vardy.
Tielemans or Maddison?
Tielemans is 6 million, isn't he?
He's had a return in the last 5 games.
Yeah, I'd go Tielemans.
Yeah, I'd go Maddison.
And the thing is,
that's the end of Planet FPL podcast.
I'd keep Tielemans. Tielemans is a buy and hold for me. Maddison, I don't know if I would. If I want to keep him to the end of the season.
For those on our strategy, this is a 1-game punt.
It's not an easy one. I'd go Tielemans. I like Belgians. I don't know, I like Belgian waffles.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, noted.
Yuri Tielemans, give me a ring sometime. We'll go and have waffles together in Leicester.
You talk some waffle.
Indeed. Anything else to add?
Let's wrap it up.
Quick mention. We were in the finalists of this Football Blogging Awards, weren't we?
Yeah, we've been nominated. Basically because 35 Who tweeted something and everybody else fucking tweeted it as well.
Yeah, so Adam, thanks for that.
So we've been nominated.
Yeah, in a few weeks it's the Football Blogging Awards and we're in the final along with a bunch of other really good people.
With about 50 other people.
Content creators or something or other. So yes, we would really appreciate it if you did fancy voting in that, then do it. You can go to footballbloggingawards.co.uk, Google it, or find it on Twitter. Yeah, it would just be a nice thing to do.
Personally, I think you should place your vote on someone else and not waste it. It's kind of like spoiling a vote.
No. Vote for us. What are you on about?
Such
Vote
things we can win.
I just want to announce the award-winning place where
your naivety, sir, has reached new heights.
No. My confidence in the content we create. So do have a look at that. Well, James will tweet it out. Or find us on Twitter at Planet FPL Pod, and we will tweet out to that. It's Football Blogging Awards. That would be nice. And that's it. Other than that, we will be back next week, which will probably be Tuesday, right?
I'm not sure because we're champions.
When are you playing?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So
we might have to do Wednesday.
Wednesday would be okay, or we'll do it early morning Tuesday or something.
Oh,
we'll figure it
God.
out for you. We'll be back next week. Good luck with everything with your double game weeks. If you are pressing your wildcard button, do it at 6:45 or 7:45, whatever you can.
No, don't do it at 6:45 before the fucking deadline.
No. What is the deadline?
Well, it's 7 o'clock.
Oh, is it 7? Sorry.
I think
it's
so.
8 o'clock kickoff. Otherwise, it's 7:45.
Just once Southampton Liverpool's kicked off wildcard.
Do it. If you own players that you have built up value in, that you might carry through your wildcard, don't sub them out just because you're pissing about with your team. Because if you sub them out, you will then have to buy them back at their full price. So if in doubt, don't sub them out. That's just one thing that I just want to make sure that people know. Keep them in your wildcard team until you definitely know you want to lose them. That's for people that you've got even 0.1 or 0.2 of value built up in, because that will hurt.
The YouTube watchers will agree with me. That's the most white I've ever seen in your eyes.
Really? Like,
you were so determined to get that point across.
I just don't want people to fuck up, basically.
Man, Charles does this shit.
No, on that note, ciao for now.
Good night, everyone. Cue music.